gentlemen, all rise and welcome to another exciting episode of The Devil's Due. I am your host, Carl Duty. With me, as always, is a man who's got 99 episodes and a switch for fun, Mr. Drew Celestino.
Oh, it's a play on words.
Yeah, see what I did there?
I see it.
I took something and I changed it, but I kept it the same.
Uh-huh.
I'm clever like that.
Sure.
We'll say sure. We'll say Mo.
What's going on?
How you doing, sir?
Oh, peachy keen.
Here we are, episode 99.
99. We are Gretzky up in here.
Are we the GOAT?
I mean, we're not the GOAT.
That's true. I've heard worse podcasts than us.
Yeah. I've heard better, but I've definitely heard worse, too. I've unsubscribed to worse. Yeah. So, question.
Yes.
When we do this live show,
Yes.
should anyone actually attend? When you say all rise, do you expect people to actually get up?
No.
Okay. All right, so people, this is a sign. When he says that, don't actually get up, or it's going to be really weird.
I mean, you can. If you
Sure.
want to be cool about it, sure. But I have no judicial power whatsoever, nor am I a bailiff, nor have I ever even played one on TV or the radio. So I have no influence to make people rise to their feet.
Fair enough.
I mean, it's not my bag, man. So, speaking of our upcoming live show,
Yeah, let's
just to shout it out again, folks.
reiterate the deets.
We're not going to be here next week. We're taking next week off to do some prep. The week after that, Tuesday night, 6:30 at Daily Planet Coffee.
Drop the date down.
July 10th.
There you go.
1862, that's 1862 Hurdle Avenue, Buffalo, New York, 14216. We will be there for our live 100th episode spectacular. Please, by all means, if you're in the area and available, come on out and join us. Give your patronage to Daily Planet Coffee. It's a great establishment, very deserving of your dollars. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to do our normal thing. We're going to have some surprises here and there. I did post on the event page and on our page. We will have a ton of free comics to give away. I still have a great number left over from when we did the fighting game tournament months back, and so we're going to be bringing those there, and huge variety too. So that's going to be fun, and we're playing out some other things to do. We really, really hope you come out and join us. Tell your friends, bring some people. It's going to be a good time.
Make a night of it. Hurdle Ave, in case you are unfamiliar, Hurdle Avenue is kind of happening, so you could kind of make a little evening out of it if you were so inclined.
Yeah, Hurdle Avenue is the cool place you go when you realize you're too old or don't care about Chippewa.
Or the Elmwood Village, for that matter. So,
Yes.
a little more expensive down there anyway, so save yourself some money and go to Hurdle Ave.
Alrighty, sir, to our opening statements, how has your week been?
It's been the week as it was. As you see, renovations continue, and, probably are of all of that. Eventually, this will all get done.
I'm in a cordoned off section of the room.
Well,
A la, the Odd Couple sitcom.
you're in the experimental section of let's see what the floor looks like under the carpet, and it's not bad.
Yeah, it looks good.
It's acceptable for now.
A little bit of buffing, a little bit of polishing. It'll be, are you going to put another carpet over it?
We're going to do a little area rug in here for a little while. And then next year, because we're pumping the brakes on all the fast wheeling action around here this year, next year we'll refinish all the hardwood floors.
So just if you're in the market for an area rug, Think Geek sells a rather large Captain America shield area rug.
That might be good for the lad. That might be good for my boy. So we shall see. I saw a movie on Friday.
Yes, you did. We did not do game night.
We did not. Alan and I went with our friend Mike. It was his birthday, and Mike is a horror movie enthusiast.
Yes.
And he's also a amateur ghost hunter and things like that. Mike
Okay.
likes scary things. He likes to, he likes to get the fears. So we have gone to horror movies in the past with him, and we have seen some of the greatest experiences of my life are going to see The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2 with him. because he gets so afraid, and it's adorable and it's hilarious, and he like gets all scared, makes noises, and it makes the whole experience that much more fun to watch.
I hear he's a jumper.
He's a jumper.
Mike's a large man.
He's about 6'5", 6'6",
Okay.
maybe taller. I don't want to undersell you, Mike. So you are tall. I know this, and he's also very he's defensively tall. Whereas if you say, "Hey, Mike, I think that guy's taller than you," he gets all mad and like he'll like go walk behind him and like try and square up to see how tall the guy really is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny. It's kind of like calling Marty McFly a chicken. It's like that.
That's funny.
So anyway, we went to see Hereditary on Friday.
Yes.
It got a lot of buzz, and we heard a lot of things about it, and all this hoopla. It's the scariest movie like since The Exorcist. Every
horror movie
year,
is the scariest movie
one.
since The Exorcist.
Yeah, every year at least one movie gets that billing, and every year there's the disappointed horror fans. So I'm not going to sit here and say that it's the scariest movie since The Exorcist. But what it's not a jump scare a minute cheese fest.
Okay.
It's a slow burn psychological horror movie.
Cool.
And it's got some twists and some turns that you don't see coming, and performances. I mean, seriously, great performances in the movie that really sell the messed up nature of the movie.
It seems that ever since, I think probably The Ring was the first example of this, when we started remaking Japanese horror. And horror has now, granted, I am nowhere close to being an expert. I generally don't watch horror. Our friend of the show, Jim Martin, is a big horror fan.
Yeah.
We had him on with Nate. Could probably speak to us better. But it seems that horror has moved away from the slasher flick and more towards the psychological scare-based.
Yes and no. I think the studios that pump them out every year, they rely on the cheap jump scare movies, and they're usually 9 out of 10 of them are bad.
Well, whether it's psychological thriller or slasher, they're both cheap to make. So
sure. Yeah, I guess there is less. The other thing about the slasher movie that has declined, I would say, that's just a financial reality. PG-13 movies sell easier than R-rated movies, so the slasher genre by nature is going to get pushed to the side because we can't be maiming people in PG-13 flicks, at least outside of Star Wars. But anyway,
the wounds cauterize.
Some movies are better. Like the Conjuring flicks are great.
Yep.
They're well made, well acted, well written, well executed. Then you've got like all your clone movies. There's a million of these goofball. You see the
multiplicity.
Wow.
You said clone, so
and they're all forgetful. I couldn't. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in them. I don't care. But this one had some buzz, so we went to see it. I wouldn't say it's the scariest movie since The Exorcist, but it's definitely really good, and I would give it a solid recommendation, honestly, for anyone. Although if you're a parent, be aware.
That I mean, it's a horror movie. So
yeah.
If you're a parent, go into it.
No, not like. I don't mean like don't take your kids. I mean if you're a parent and you see this movie, I'm warning you now. You might have a reaction to it. So there's some traumatic things that happen in it, and tremendous performances therein. But for a parent, it might be a lot to take in.
Alrighty.
But it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Cool.
So yeah, that's about the bulk of it. What's up with you?
Let's see. Friday, the wife and baby and I went out we just drove around checking out stuff. We eventually ended up at the Galleria Mall, where I went to said Think Geek, and now that I just realized it, I found 2 Metroid shirts for you.
You did.
And purchased them and conveniently left them. Well, not conveniently, but unfortunately left them at home.
That's okay, because I conveniently don't have any cash on me right now to pay you for them.
Okay.
So it works out.
Yeah. Well, they're a great deal. Got them both for like $14 for both of them.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I got 2 Street Fighter shirts for like $10.
Are they like blowing things out or something?
They were having a clearance sale.
Wow. Yeah. Metroid. Anything Metroid, I will happily accept.
Yeah, I think you got the last 2 Metroid shirts in the store.
Awesome. I'm very proud of this.
One's a small and one's a medium, so, fingers crossed.
Well, in case you can't tell by my current attire, I am back in workout mode, so that small will hopefully be a little less snug next time I try it on. So,
both are Super Metroid shirts.
my favorite game ever.
I know. So that was Friday. Saturday, X-Wing tournament.
Okay.
Second place.
Attaboy.
Yep.
What was your record?
2-1.
Okay.
And the one match I just made a dumb mistake.
Da.
I was using a ship I was not accustomed to using, and it's a ship that has not seen a lot of play in recent meta because it breaks very easily. It's the TIE Phantom, so it's able to cloak, but it doesn't have a lot of like hull or shield, so it goes down pretty quickly, especially with bombs being so big in the meta. There's nothing you can do against bombs. Like, you can't roll defensive dice to try and counteract. But the new ships just came out that same week, which came out with some upgrades that made the TIE Phantom much better. So I kind of tinkered around with that and came out pretty good. The one mistake I made was I actually forgot to cloak, and the TIE Phantom cannot attack when it's cloaked. So,
okay, so it's like a bird of prey.
Yeah, well, except
in Star Trek parlance. Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun, and then after that was my niece Emma's graduation party. So Julie came and picked me up from Dave and Adams, and then we went over there to that, and that was a lot of fun. Congratulations again, Emma, on graduating high school. And then Sunday was just kind of a chill day. Played a little more X-Wing with my friend Reese. And then we ended up going back over to Julie's brother's house to have dinner because they had tons of leftovers from the party. Brought some games, kind of getting them into gaming a little bit now.
And it spreads. Hey, about that X-Wing thing real quick.
What's up?
You sent Alan and I a picture of a card.
Oh, yeah.
So are the makers of X-Wing onto you? Are they making custom work for you now?
No. See, there are different like X-Wing groups.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of them will usually have one or two people who make what are referred to as alternate art cards. Now, these aren't official cards. They're produced by Fantasy Flight Games. Most tournaments will allow you to use them, whatnot. And because the current version of X-Wing is coming to an end in a couple months, one of the gentlemen from the Salt Squadron up in Canada, Kyle, brought a ton of all our cards he was just giving away, and low in the pile there was this card of a TIE fighter pilot named Carl, and he's standing on top of a TIE fighter, and he's got his helmet off, and he's just rocking a boss mustache.
This is your card.
Yeah.
Tell me you took it home.
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did.
Good.
I did.
Good.
Now I've just got to find something to fly it with. It's like it's an Academy pilot TIE fighter, so it's like the cheapest no frills ship in the game.
Okay.
But yeah, the card will be used at least a couple times.
Excellent.
For the ending of the current version. And that I think that pretty much does it for my week.
All right.
Wasn't a lot I could think of leading up to it. Just getting ready for our episode 100 spectacular. Dear listener, if you would like to tell us about your weeks, send us any questions or comments to the show. Inquire about details about our live show coming up on July 10th. You can do so with the following. You can find us on Twitter at Devils Do Pod. You can go to facebook.com/Devils Do Pod. You can email us at thedevilsdopod@gmail.com, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsdopodcast.com. Andrew, we do have some questions from the old faithfuls of The Devils Do, Mr. J. Gelsomino and Mr. Alan Waiters. Who should we start with this week?
Let's start with
your culture.
Jay.
Gonna start with Jay. Carl and Drew. If you can do a team-up variation movie like Aliens vs. Predator, or as I dream nightly of, Jaws vs. RoboCop versus The Dude, what would it be?
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not usually one for crossovers here, so let me ponder for a moment. I feel like the Gremlins have to be involved.
You know, I was thinking of one. I've got one in my head, but I'll let you go first.
The Gremlins? versus would be a good foil for the Gremlins.
The Gremlins versus Tribbles.
Oh my God.
On a starship.
Sure. How about the Gremlins versus the Goonies?
I like that.
There you go.
That would be really
Don't know how I got there, but let's do that.
really sweet. I was just gonna do Gremlins versus Critters.
Oh, I think the Critters would win. No, then again, I don't know.
All they gotta do is form that big ball and just keep
Critter ball.
kind of Katamari it. Just keep rolling around, eating them up.
I think a Goonies crossover could work with the Gremlins. Actually,
That'd be pretty sweet.
yeah, like Billy moves into whatever town the Goonies live in,
Yeah,
and he brings Gizmo, and then shenanigans ensue.
yeah.
See.
I've already
This is a ripe concept.
I've
here.
already bought my ticket, sir. You sold me.
All right.
Drew, if someone put a gun to your head and made you play a version of Super Smash Brothers with 6 video game characters of your choice, what would they be? Simon Belmont, Trevor Belmont,
This is
Alucard.
Those are yours. In my case, no, I'd say Alucard, Samus, Raiden from Mortal Kombat.
I think I gotta disqualify Samus only because Samus is already in Smash.
If we can't pick people that are already in, then it's going to be very difficult. All right, I'll take Samus out. Okay. Back up the truck. Alucard. Who did I say again? Raiden from Mortal Kombat. They have to figure out some kind of way to give GLaDOS a physical body to play in Smash. If they can do Ridley, they can do GLaDOS. So we're gonna pick GLaDOS. Doom Guy. And that's 4. This is trickier than I thought it was going to be.
You want some help? Because I got a couple.
Commander Shepard from Mass Effect.
Okay.
And who's my 6th pick? Never been in a Smash game. That's the quantifier there. That's tough. Oh, how about
it's an audio medium, Drew.
I know this is harder than it looks, man.
You want me to throw you a lifeline?
Let's throw Jason Voorhees in there.
8-bit Jason Voorhees.
Well, we can toughen him up like they did in Mortal Kombat 10 or like they did in that Friday the 13th game that's out right now.
See, I'm gonna tell you the ones I was thinking, and you'll remove Jason. You might even remove like Shepard, Billy and Jimmy Lee.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Or the dudes from Contra.
Yeah, okay. We could do one or both. Well, one of each. If you get Billy, I'm not taking Billy and Jimmy.
Or
Bimmy, as he was called in the first game.
Or the poor man's Contra, a game I still enjoy, Ikari Warriors.
Ikari Warriors. The budget Contra. The one that kids open at Christmas and are like, oh, it's not Contra.
I loved Ikari Warriors. I thought it was great.
I have it if you want to play it.
Carl, what would you rather own? The actual orca from Jaws, LL Cool J's chain from Deep Blue Sea, or a movie-worn Jack Burton shirt? This is no-brainer. It's Jack Burton shirt.
Carl would sleep with it on.
I'll fly.
It.
I'll fly. I'm pilot. I don't sail. I'm not boatman. So
what you're saying is you're more Jack Burton.
I'm not one for chains.
You're more Jack Burton, less Captain Ron.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just checking.
I like what you did there.
Good.
You know, this question makes me kind of sad, though, at the same time, because there is a Big Trouble in Little China board game that's coming out.
Wait, there already is one.
No, there's the Legendary game.
Okay.
We've played that.
Yeah.
But there's like a board game coming out.
Oh.
It's like a big game. It's going to be expensive. I don't think I can justify buying it because, like, once you learn it, A, there's a lot to learn, and B, once you learn it, it takes an hour and a half to 2 hours to play.
Which means it takes like 3 hours to play in real life.
Well, the first time or two through, but
Yeah, yeah.
after that, so I
That's a hell of
can't.
a. That's,
I can't really justify the expense because I don't know how many times I'd really get it on the table.
Yeah.
So, on top of that, I don't have like a ton of people around me who love that movie as much as I do, which is tragic.
It's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
Did you know that it was a huge influence on Mortal Kombat?
Of course.
Okay, just checking. Just checking.
Just look at like
exactly.
so much stuff.
Exactly.
Look at Raiden.
Yep. And Shang Tsung's original appearance was totally Lopan. And
Yep. Oh yeah. Okay. Now on to Mr. Alan Waiters. Carl and Drew, what did you guys think of Bear Watch last week? Was it unbearable? So for those of you who are not in the local area, we had an unexpected visitor to a couple towns in the area, a couple of the suburbs, one of which being my town. We had a bear going
there was
around.
A bear.
Just walking around and whatnot. And like I didn't pay attention to it the first couple times, and then I see bear in North Tonawanda. I'm like, honey,
bring the dogs in, please.
Do me a favor, call your mom, tell her not to let William play outside.
Uh-huh.
Last thing I need is a bear stealing my son.
I enjoyed Bear Watch. I'm a bear guy.
I'll punch a bear, Drew, if he messes with my kid.
That's fair. I mean, you'll have to because you don't want the bear, to attack you. But that's
I'm not saying it's gonna be much of a fight once I punch the bear.
Oh no, you're dead at that point. But I'm a bear fan. Bears are cool, unless one attacks me, in which case I will cower and turtle. But overall,
you got Zangief it.
Oh,
wrestle it.
Yeah, I don't
spinning pile drive it.
I'm not well versed in the spinning pile driver, so. But I'm a big fan of bears. Bear videos on the internet are very fun to watch.
Yes.
Google the waving bear. He's awesome. and bears playing tetherball. Also awesome.
Carl, why do you consider a game like Shaq Fu a fighting game but not Smash Brothers?
Oh, man.
Also, Carl, think twice of wrathing me or Yogi will appear again.
He's going to invoke the bear?
He has no power to invoke the bear. He's just trying to scare me into not wrathing him again, which is unfortunate because
you're
now
not...
he's just going to get wrathed more.
So you're saying he's digging the hole deeper?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Also, does not the good book say honor thy neighbor and not wrath them? No, Alan, it doesn't.
Those specific words? I don't think so.
No. Sorry.
Not in that order, anyway.
But to your original question, why do I consider Shaq Fu a fighting game and not Smash Brothers? The original Shaq Fu game that came out for like Genesis and Super Nintendo was a fighting game. It was a horrible fighting game, but it wasn't like it was one-on-one fighting, fixed plane. What traditional fighters are. I personally don't consider Smash Brothers a fighting game. I consider it a multi-platform party brawler. Now, whether or not I consider it a fighting game aside is inconsequential. It does have a place in the fighting game community, and that's a place that's growing, and a lot of people are excited for the Smash on the Switch, and I'm happy for them. But to me, it's not a fighting game. Its initial design was not intended to be a fighting game. So in the same way that, a game like Windjammers, which I love, has a place in the fighting game community, so does Smash. I don't consider either one to be fighting games. So,
okay.
I mean, it's...
You're the expert, but to me, it's all semantics. But you're the expert.
Yes,
so
I am.
I'll just say, okay. I'll disagree with you, but okay.
Drew.
Yes.
What is your overall review of the Switch after 1 year? Did it change the minds of third-party developers? Do you see other companies trying to replicate the Switch's success?
Mm-hmm.
Lastly, what are you most disappointed about the Switch?
I think the Switch
It's been longer than a year, hasn't it?
Just over a year. Just about.
I thought it didn't come out in March?
March, April, I think. I can't remember.
Yeah, it was March.
But there seems to be a lot of 1 year in retrospective at this point, probably because of E3 and whatnot. I think the Switch has been a roaring success.
Yeah, it's great.
I think it's huge. Everyone seems to really like it. Its critics are few, as far as I can tell. Everyone seems to really dig it, and It's carved out a definite place for itself in the market. It's not contending exactly for the PS4 spot, but people want it, and they also want they want titles on it because the appeal of taking the game wherever you want to go, even if all you want to do is go from your couch to your bathroom or to your bedroom or what have you. People like that flexibility, and the Switch performs so flawlessly and seamlessly in that regard that if it's got an immediate appeal that is doing wonders for it. So I think it's had a fantastic first year, and when you really sit down and look at it, they've delivered their two biggest franchises in that first year. Now, here I am crying about Metroid Prime not being shown at E3, but let's take a look at what else hasn't been shown. Animal Crossing hasn't been shown. A new Star Fox game hasn't really been shown.
Kinda.
What?
What's the thing that Fox is appearing in?
That's some toy game. That doesn't count.
Okay.
That's some he's in it, but it's not a Star Fox game. F-Zero is always in the back burner somewhere in fans' minds. I wouldn't get my hopes up for it, but it's there if you want it.
Yeah.
So Kirby's got stuff coming though. Yoshi's got stuff coming.
Kirby's out already. He's got
several more coming.
Yeah.
But my point being though that there are franchises available to the system that it hasn't even touched yet. So it's just getting started.
It's early, folks.
And
I forgot to mention I picked up Mario Aces Friday.
Yes, you did. You and Alan both, I think.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, so third-party wise, they're on board. They seem to be they're definitely supporting it more than they ever did the Wii U.
Yeah.
Because there's a much bigger install base already.
Yeah.
So cool. I think they could do a little better job. They are limited by hardware because they can't just easily port games from the PS4 or the Xbox as easily as those two systems, can be developed concurrently. The Switch does require its own kind of specialized development. So that is always going to be a hindrance because third parties are they want the most return on their investment. So if they have to spend more to get the game out, it's not going to be attractive to them. Now that's unfortunate because as a Nintendo guy, I want everything on my Switch. I just do. But it is what it is, and more and more are going to come around. And if you look at Square is putting an original content on the thing. We're getting Octopath Traveler. No one else is getting that. Now, that's not to say that they won't get it later, because they probably will. But for now, it's a Switch exclusive.
Okay, I'm getting it from a Switch.
Right. So, cool. I'm all for it. I'd like to see more, but for now, it's fine.
I think a lot of third-party developers are probably in a wait-and-see mode for the first year. Considering they have a game out within the first year, you had to start developing it before the system came out. So hopefully
they've waited and they've seen, and they'll start putting it out.
It's board games aside, and granted, I've mentioned I am playing board games more than I am playing video games. It's going to be a good summer for video games. This month we have Mario Aces. Mm-hmm. Last month we had Street Fighter Collection, which granted not new, but still enjoyable addition.
That's for you and Alan.
This month Mario Aces. Next month Octopath Traveler. And August Fire Pro.
Fire Pro, man. I'm excited for Fire Pro. I've never played one before, but you give me an official NJPW license, I will play your game. By all accounts, that game is excellent, so I hope it lives up to the hype.
Yeah. And just the last part of his question, what are you most disappointed about the Switch?
It's that I haven't seen Metroid Prime 4 yet. That's probably it. That and like I said about third parties, I would really like one of them to be like, hey, we're with you. We're gonna put our stuff out concurrently for both platforms or for all platforms. Switch is gonna be there same day as PS4, same day as Xbox. We're not leaving you out. Yeah, that's what I'd like to see. But we'll see. Could happen. Could not.
Cool. All right, that does it for our questions. Jay and Alan, thank you as always. That will close up the cross-examination, and we move on to the case files. And Drew, we got some stuff to talk about this week.
Oh?
Start with the appetizers here and move on to the main course. First off, I guess it all depends on how they execute it, but for right now I'm treating this as good news. The Ninja Turtles are getting a film reboot.
Already.
given
already.
Given what the current Bayized version of the Turtles are, I am okay with this news.
I'm fine with it, but I am surprised though. Like the first one made a lot of money.
First one made $500 million.
That's a lot
worldwide.
of money.
Second one only made $250 million worldwide.
That's still a lot of money.
But that's still also a huge.
It's a huge drop, but it's a sequel.
With not a lot of time in between the sequels either.
That's fair. I get it. I mean, that's.
And we're talking about kids. Kids have no taste for quality.
I understand
they
that.
They just want more.
I know.
I'm
surprised they wouldn't give it one more kick before they threw in the towel.
Well, they probably are also learning from Transformers too.
Oh,
because Transformers, the past couple films have underperformed greatly. The last one especially. Actually, watched the last one this week.
I couldn't even tell you what it is.
It was on Hulu.
Okay, how many are there?
I think this was like 5.
5 of them. Oh my god! I checked out long ago.
Yeah, the last one I saw in theaters was the second one, and ever since then they've just happened to come across my path and I watched them. Oh, Drew, it's bad.
I'm sure it is.
But there is a bright side to it, and that bright side is Anthony Hopkins.
He's just cashing checks at this point.
He is just cashing checks, but you know what? He doesn't care, so he's just going for it. Remember that meme he came out with a couple months back or whatnot, the Vine whatever, of him just like dancing like crazy?
No.
You have to look at it. It's nuts, but his whole performance is just that. And I found myself enjoying it.
He's just embracing his inner Nick Cage and going for it.
Pretty much.
Wow.
And Drew, guess what? The Earth is actually Unicron.
Really?
Yeah.
Does Earth transform and destroy itself?
No.
Oh. Well,
no.
Well, then what's the point?
I guess they wanted to save that for the next movie. But now Cybertron is right next to Earth.
I feel like that would be...
and that has no gravitational effect.
I was just going to say...
There's no science involved in this at all.
No.
Yeah, it was bad. But back to the Heroes in a Half Shell.
Yes.
Turtles are getting a reboot. I welcome this because even though I appreciate what the last film tried to do, the last film just tried to be the cartoon show.
I think that's what kids have wanted for that's people of our age anyway.
And that's kind of like was a little refreshing to see. Had it not been for the horribly designed turtles themselves, I would have probably enjoyed the movie. But every time they show up on the screen, it just took me out of it.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
I wonder what direction they're going to go in.
I mean, obviously, we're never going to get the film. The closest we're ever come from getting a comic book version of the film was the first movie.
Yep.
And now it's just very much a kid's property, and that's fine. So,
it always was. Well, not really, but
the next film will probably be along the lines of that, and they're owned by Nickelodeon, so it's kind of
the grim and gritty turtles we like.
We're not going to get the turtles killing foot soldiers on a rooftop in New York, and
we're not going to get Leonardo decapitating the Shredder.
Yeah, chucking Shredder off of a roof and throwing a grenade down.
Yeah, right. That's not going to happen.
I would love that, though.
It'd be cool.
Just make a movie of the first issue of the comic book, film it like they did Sin City.
Well, wow, okay. That first movie really nailed it, though, didn't it?
Yeah, the first movie was great.
It had the right aesthetic, the right feel. Like
they realized that, you know what, doing a film version of the cartoons could be really freaking expensive.
Right.
So let's just do the comic books, but we'll put the cartoon turtles in there.
More or less.
Essentially.
More or less.
Yeah. There's like a seasoning of the comic book turtles. Like they introduced the whole Raph-Leo friction dynamic.
Absolutely. Raph being kind of a hothead vigilante on the side kind of got introduced there. His introduction to Casey Jones. They were the cartoon turtles in that they had different color headbands.
Yeah.
As opposed to all red, you know. Donatello wasn't exactly a machine genius in the first movie. They had to wait till the sequel till we got that version, but you know.
Donatello didn't do machines.
No. He started the car when Casey was fixing the engine.
Did you ever watch the animated film that came out a couple years back in theaters? It's really good. It was a nice little surprise.
I have seen episodes of the past CGI series, which was really good.
Yeah. Funny thing, the animated feature film, the TMNT that came out a couple of years ago, is in the continuity of the films.
Interesting.
Because like at the end of the movie, you see like kind of like almost a trophy shelf, and the Shredder's helmet is on it, and it's the design from the film where it's got like the little grids in the mask.
Mm-hmm.
For better or worse, the helmet that they wore as samurai from feudal Japan's on there, and I'm pretty sure there was something from Secret of the Ooze on there.
And
Maybe
wasn't there I only know from reading about it when it came out. Wasn't there some kind of teaser at the end that the Shredder was coming back or something?
Yes.
Huh.
From Kurai.
From what?
Kurai, the Shredder's daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Characters.
Well, we'll see. I say put guys back in suits. That's what I say. I'm a big fan of man in suit.
Yeah, me too.
And they better be average height and not monstrosities.
Yeah, we don't. No more Shrek turtles.
No
more Shrek.
No Hulk Shrek turtles,
yes.
Please.
No.
Thank you.
No. Okay, so that's that. Moving on, we've got some Marvel Cinematic Universe news, Drew.
Oh,
a couple tidbits about our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, who, as it appears in his next film, will be friendly in a completely different neighborhood.
Yes.
The Tom Holland, the spoiler king, whether it be intentional or otherwise, I'm sure this one was approved by Marvel and whatnot. Released.
I like that they're steering into it.
Yeah. Released the title of the next Spider-Man film, which will be Spider-Man 2 Far From Home.
Is the 2 on there, or is it just Spider-Man Far From Home?
You know what? It might have been just Spider-Man Far From Home now that I think about it.
Totally fine with that.
Yeah, sure.
Sums it up nicely.
Yep.
He's on summer vacation.
He's in Paris, apparently.
Paris or London, whichever.
One of the over there's countries. I don't know.
There's a difference, sir. Sure. Bring it on. Bring on.
Yeah, and apparently, I think Alan sent us the article, but I love Alan to death, but a lot of times he uses websites I've never heard of, so I'm reluctant to trust them.
Sure.
But I guess that Jake Gyllenhaal has been signed as Mysterio, and I am excited about this. I am as excited about it as I'm going to be up until we see a picture and he's not in the fishbowl helmet. I don't expect the fishbowl helmet to make an appearance. So up until those dreams are dashed, I will choose to be excited about it.
He might.
I mean,
he might.
Can have they done?
If they don't do it, what does he have left? You know what I mean? Like you got to have a hook for this.
I get you. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
So Keaton's returning. He'll be in that. So it's gonna be a good time.
Just point out the MCU is packed with really cool actors.
Well, yeah, it's got pretty much all of them.
Yeah, at this point, basically, yeah. Like Lawrence Fishburne's in now.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
And
he's having fun, and he's smiling in a movie.
He was like I think the only two people we're missing from the Matrix now are Joey Pants and Keanu.
Let's get him on the phone.
Let's get him in somewhere. Oh no, we can't get Joey Pants to play Ben Urich again.
No,
Ben Urich's already spoken for and not speaking much anymore.
Correct. Rest in peace.
Yeah,
he can play somebody.
Joey Pants is Jameson.
Nah, no. J.K. Simmons, man.
I know. J.K. Simmons
big shoes
perfect.
to fill. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
That's like the one, I'm sure Marvel has some kind of rule that they don't want to bring, they probably don't want to confuse people or, bring anyone in from previous iterations, but make an exception in this case.
Yeah.
Get him on the phone.
Yeah.
That Jim Gordon thing's probably not working out for you, JK, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring you back as J. Jonah Jameson, and, just go for it.
He was good as Gordon, too.
In the 3 lines he had, sure, he was great.
Yeah.
He looked good in a trench coat, which is probably all he had to do.
All right, so moving on. We had a trailer dropped on us today that is the third trailer for a film that probably should have been the first trailer for the film.
Yeah.
We got a new trailer for the new Predator movie coming out, directed by Shane Black.
Yeah,
Predator alum himself.
I've seen the previous trailers, and I thought Wow. I don't want to see that movie. That looks dumb. It looks like more bad attempts at trying to keep this franchise on life support alive. The new trailer actually looks like something I would go see.
Yeah.
We've got banter. We've got mercenaries.
Yep.
We've got action. You know what we don't have?
What?
Little kids in the suburbs in a Predator movie.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to be in there because they were in the previous trailers, but maybe don't put that on Front Street. Don't lead with that. Lead with the mercenaries and the killing.
I don't want to see the Stranger Thing kids going up against the Predator. I'm not going to buy their victory there.
I've got Stranger Things for that.
Yeah.
I don't need your version.
So we've got, like you said, all those aspects of it, things that fans love from the first film predominantly, they kind of steered hard into. And again,
with a taste of two, though, with a group that clearly has predators and they're
Yes.
studying them and understanding them and whatnot. Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
The first couple trailers didn't turn me off to the film because I love Predator films. I'll go see one. I mean, yeah, Alien versus Predator films weren't great, but they were still fun. They had that Predators, I thought was perfectly
I
fine.
didn't see that one actually.
What else? But yeah, this one I'm looking forward to. I think it was Alan that asked us if we thought Schwarzenegger is going to get a cameo.
That's what I said.
Or Carl Weathers going to get a cameo.
Well, that's
going to be Carl Weathers going to get a cameo.
He definitely died in the first movie.
Yes,
but Arnold's alive.
Arnold is alive. I think
if Arnold's going to do anything, I got an idea. Arnold, buddy, I love you. Stop wasting your time on these Terminator movies that no one likes and no one asked for. And pop up in this Predator flick.
Although we got some set photos of Linda Hamilton on the new Terminator flick, she looking like Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
They got a lot of damage to fix, but
Cameron's involved, and even though I hate the guy, I'm sure he's
very good at what he does.
He'll probably right the ship at the very least. But come on, man. I think Arnold, I think two things: Terminator, Predator, like 1 and 1A almost.
I think if you have Schwarzenegger in it, you do one of two things.
Don't tell anybody he's in it.
Yeah, obviously don't tell anyone he's in it, and either do a stinger, a post-credit stinger, or just right at the end of the movie he shows up and it's going to set up the sequel. And he's going to be, and his Dutch will be in the sequel.
Okay. At least acknowledge him.
Yeah, I mean, they've acknowledged the first one. They acknowledged the first one and the second one. They acknowledged the first one in Predators.
Okay.
I think if I remember correctly, in Alien vs. Predator, maybe not the first one, but the second one, I think they acknowledged.
All right.
It's not, they haven't retconned those events. Those events still very much happened.
Okay. He's alive. He survived. If they're doing some kind of hey, we study predators here at this university, or whatever it is in the new movie, maybe Arnold works there in some capacity.
I really like the one line, the one guy said, these things aren't just running around on their planets, hunting each other and making ribcage helmets. These things conquered space.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes you think about they're an extremely advanced culture.
Yep. They have gotten off their planet and they have decided to go kill other planets. Yeah. So they're not to be trifled with.
And it looks like there's a big one in this movie.
How do you feel about that?
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Sure.
See how it plays out.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be worth the ticket price.
New trailer, much better. Much better.
All right, Drew, let's get to the main course of the news this week. It was announced earlier this week.
Announced or reported?
Reported.
There's a difference.
I don't think they would come out and confirm.
They haven't. They've been very quiet. If it is what I think you're about to drop.
It's been reported that Disney has put on hold all of the standalone Star Wars films, which would include the previously announced officially announced Boba Fett film, and the long-rumored Obi-Wan Kenobi film. Now, whether or not this includes the Rian Johnson trilogy currently in development, or the trilogy from the guys who are doing Game of Thrones that's in some form of development, We don't know yet. The saga film episode 9 is still
Yes,
going forward.
it is a go.
So yeah, I know we've talked a lot on this show in the past, and we've talked a lot, with friends and whatnot about Star Wars fatigue. I don't necessarily feel Star Wars fatigue. I understand this decision, but at the same time, I also feel like it's an overreaction.
Maybe it is, but it's the right call. I know you don't feel the fatigue, but I think the receipts show it's a thing, and they got to be careful before they poison the well. Sometimes in life, you got to pump the brakes before you go off the cliff. And it might not even be going off the cliff, but you definitely want to take a minute and go, hang on. We don't want to flood the market to the point of diminishing returns. Let's step back a minute, get episode 9 out, see where we're at, and then go from there. And I think that's probably the right move. The every year strategy, in theory, it works. And maybe it would have worked had they done the smart thing. Here's where they screwed up. They put out Solo 6 months after Last Jedi.
Well, that was because of the problems they were having.
Fine.
They had to change.
Then keep it on the shelf for another 6 months. Just put it out at Christmas. This is like, you own a holiday. Disney, you own a holiday now. Like,
you officially own Christmas.
Stick with it.
I prefer the Star Wars films coming out at Christmas.
I agree. There's nothing else out. Nothing else is going on.
Well, it's not that there's nothing else out. Christmas is the busiest time of year for films, at least for movie theaters.
Not for blockbusters, though.
There's a lot of blockbusters come out at Christmas time. It's in a much more condensed space. So it might not seem that way. Summer, you get 3-4 months of kind of 1 week after another. Christmas is just kind of a month and a half of just everything squished together.
Fair enough.
I mean, if I would be interested to know what the thought process was behind the decision, because if they're just going off of the returns of Solo and not the circumstances surrounding the returns of Solo, that's where I kind of tend to think it's an overreaction. If they're just looking at the box office receipts and saying this didn't perform as well as we expected, first off, you had to switch the release date. You had to essentially film it a second time. So Solo is the most expensive Star Wars film ever, $250 million.
Yep.
Because you had to film it twice.
Basically, yep.
You didn't market it well.
Not really.
Because you had to rush a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so this film, and when they say underperformed, it's underperforming compared to a Star Wars film.
Yeah, but keep in mind...
one of the last three has sniffed $1 billion domestically.
You're right. I mean...
Underperforming
it still made a lot
for
of
a
money.
Star Wars film is still overperforming compared to everything else out there.
But I think because they put so much into it, I have to assume they
were smart enough to know they weren't going to turn a profit on this.
Yeah, they had to know that. I don't know. It's hard to say. I think more lead time would have been good. So yeah,
don't get me wrong. I wouldn't want a Star Wars film every 6 months either.
No, and I think they're getting that message through. I don't know. And then you have you've got the crybabies online who will say that they boycotted Solo because of The Last Jedi. I don't know how much of a dent that really made, but they're definitely vocal enough. And all I would say to them is okay, well, you did it, and now they're not making any more. You happy? You happy now? You're not. You want more of the thing, but you're going to boycott the thing because you didn't like the previous thing. But now you're not going to get anything.
Yeah.
So now what do you want? I hope that's not a widespread thing. I wouldn't think it was. No one I knew was well, I'm not going to see Solo because The Last Jedi was terrible. I don't know those people.
Yeah, that doesn't. That doesn't make sense.
In any case,
if you want to say you're not going to go see Episode 9 because Last Jedi was terrible,
that makes a little more sense.
It wasn't.
No, oh God, no.
Yeah, that makes more sense. But Solo is right up your alley of what you wanted.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, and I'm the cynic here. So, yeah, I mean, I'm all for just take a minute, reevaluate. We're still getting episode 9.
Yeah,
You've
that's
got
fine.
a year and a half till that comes out, right? Not this Christmas, next Christmas. Fine.
2019.
Take the time, pick your spots, go from there.
Yep.
And that hey, the other thing they might have learned from it, maybe these characters that they thought would carry to, the tune of X amount of sniffing $1 billion, maybe they're not as strong as on the consciousness as they thought. So if if you're Disney, okay?
Yeah.
And you think Han Solo, and we're fans. We all love Han Solo. But that doesn't necessarily mean everyone has peripherally heard of or knows Han Solo, or at least thinks of him in a way outside of, Harrison Ford. What I mean by that is, even if they know him, they just know him that he's played by Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Like Spider-Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's known as Spider-Man. Batman is Batman.
Yeah.
He's not one thing. It's this entity outside of it that's culturally permeated for X amount of years, where you put a movie out with that, people will go. I think they're more apt to go see it and suspend whatever they think they know about it in that instance, because they culturally know about it, that way.
Yeah.
Han Solo is like, yes, again, Star Wars fans love him, but most people probably just go Harrison Ford. Oh, it's not Harrison Ford? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think there's definitely something to that.
My point being, if Han Solo can't sell you a $1 billion movie, who's going to see this Boba Fett flick? Like,
well,
let's
be honest. Boba Fett would make all the money
among the fans. He would, but you ask average Joe Blow, they don't even know his name, dude. They only say it once in one of the movies.
I would disagree with that. I think he's another one of those characters that has that, like, he falls in with, it's Boba. He was the first one. It was Boba Fett, Deadpool, Venom, Spider-Gwen. These characters that kind of transcend their source material to come into the mainstream public view, and the mainstream public view doesn't know anything about them beyond, hey, this one or two things, and that character looks cool. Kind of like Yankee fans who don't know anything about the team.
Okay, I know those fans.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's a lot of them out there, so Boba Fett would make all the money.
I disagree. I think it would sell to the fans, but on a wide level, I think most people would be scratching their heads going like, I don't know. Who? He doesn't show his face? What? Like, what? So, yeah, I think Disney probably did their homework. They probably did the math and figured, okay, let's just wait for a minute here and pick our spot and reevaluate where we're at. If you have two, dude, like you just said, you've got the Boba Fett movie, rumored Obi-Wan movie, Rian Johnson trilogy, Game of Thrones guys trilogy. Like, that's a lot of stuff in the pot there.
Plus a new animated series and a new live action series.
Right. Like, I think a lot of people might hear all that and just absorb it, and it's like, hang on, whoa. That's a lot. Even if they don't see it yet, they just know that it's all there, and they're thinking, oh my God, this is beginning to overwhelm. Hang on.
So one thing that has me a little bit worried about this, air finger quotes, course correction is, do they get so gun shy about the direction they went in with Last Jedi that they try to, for lack of a much better term, right the ship with Episode 9 and say, well, JJ, just like do what you did with The Force Awakens. Make it more like, make Episode 9 essentially Return of the Jedi. And I don't want to see that. They did something that, when you find the people who appreciate what Rian Johnson did with Episode 9 or with Episode 8, of which we are two of those people, and just like moving that franchise and that story in a drastically new and exciting direction, I really wish Rian Johnson just stayed on to do Episode 9 to finish his story.
Yeah.
Now we're getting talk of, Ewan McGregor showing up as Obi-Wan Kenobi in Episode 9, which on the surface, I'm not against,
I don't
but
particularly care for it, but
that's just because you hate the prequels.
I do.
But,
I don't
but we
necessarily
both
hate
agreed
his...
that Ewan McGregor was very good in the prequels as Kenobi.
He's fine. I mean, no one's very good in those movies, but he's okay. He didn't puke on himself like the guy who played Anakin did.
That wasn't that guy's fault. That was Lucas. Hayden Christensen's a good actor.
Yeah,
Seriously.
what's he done since that movie?
He
done a
did
lot, huh?
Shattered Glass, which was very good. He hasn't done a lot because he couldn't blow the stink of Star Wars off him, and a lot of it was like it's documented. A lot of it was kind of going back to what we were talking about last week with toxic fandom. A lot of it was self-imposed too, because I think Kelly Marie Tran got hate. Hayden Christensen got hate.
Yeah, because he stunk. But Lucas.
Yeah.
But in any case, Ewan's fine. My point, it's not even a prequel thing with me. It's more like chronologically, that doesn't make sense. And I don't think that makes sense. And
Well, they're going to make him look old.
Last we saw of Obi-Wan in this continuity, he was Alec Guinness. We can't do that. I don't want them to do the CG thing that they did with Tarkin and Leia. Don't do that again. So maybe here's a radical idea. Leave him be. Let him go. Let's not dip back into the well of key characters that we know. How about we just
don't
put him in the movie at all?
Whether he's in there
right
or not,
around it.
I'm fine either way. But don't. Tarkin and Leia were not bad. You're letting internet fanboy outcry hate influence that decision.
Tarkin didn't bother me that much. Leia looked like a doll, and it was a little strange.
Leia was on the screen for a second and a half.
So then she should have looked better because they didn't have to render that much.
Fine. It was
a little jarring.
It was fine. Especially after, you go back and watch it again and you know to expect her and whatnot. But you would have to watch the film again, which you won't do.
I don't have time for that. So I would just prefer they don't do that. I don't know. To me, it's still a little awkward that they do it at all.
Yeah, I'm good either way. I just don't want them to totally change everything they were going to do because of this now.
No, I don't either. I definitely don't. And to be fair, though, I don't think JJ wants to do that either.
I hope not.
I think he's smart enough to know, Rian Johnson was doing this with this.
Yeah.
And he's probably talked to him, and they probably figured out, okay.
I still have faith in Kathleen Kennedy, and she guides the ship in the right direction.
I don't see her as giving in to the whims of a vocal
minority,
a vocal nerd fan base that just wants their Star Wars. They want their Jedi and their Sith, and they want laser sword fights and all that crap. It's like, look, that's the superficial stuff. It's video games.
Yeah.
You want power levels and meters and crap. That's not what Star Wars is about.
Yeah.
And that was Rian Johnson's point.
Yep.
So
he even spells it out on a special feature of the DVD. He said the Force had become a superpower. I wanted to make the Force what was originally intended to be.
Right. And, not to mention, from a character perspective, let's not... Our character... The Last Jedi, everyone actualized their purpose.
Yeah.
Rey actualized her purpose. Finn as well. All three of them became fully fleshed out characters who went from one point to another point. They had a full arc in the movie, all three of them. Give me the movie in the third that that finishes the story with them as they are now. Don't give me some nostalgia. I don't want Return of the Jedi. I don't want, there's another Death Star. God forbid there's another Death Star, Carl.
You know what? I'd like to see someone in the First Order be really smart, be like, you know what? Let's just build the gun. Don't bother with the space station.
Yeah.
Just make the gun.
Just the gun.
The gun works fine.
Well, put the fleet around the gun.
There you go.
That's all you got to do.
We don't need to spend all... You know what? In time it took us to make one Death Star, we could probably make 6 guns.
Right.
Throw an engine on them.
It's not making sense,
Put
man.
a rudder on it.
You're
point it at something and shoot.
You should run the Empire.
Clearly. The vast amount of things that I should be running is very distinguished. Yeah.
All right.
I'm still looking forward to like the new animated series coming in, the live action series, especially the animated series, because I guess it's just like Top Gun but with Star Wars.
All right.
So I'm excited about that. Oh, really quickly before we wrap up the news, because this was our last story. There's a friend of mine who goes to my church. His name is Brian, and he was an Air Force pilot. He was a fighter pilot. He's a pilot for Delta right now. I found him in church on Sunday, and I asked him, like, did you hear they're doing a sequel to Top Gun? He's like, no, I didn't. I'm like, I want to ask you because my friends and I were talking about this. We have no idea what the story would be because there isn't. And I asked him, is there really like fighter to fighter aerial combat in the world anymore? He's like, no, there isn't. I'm like, okay, I thought so. So I'm thinking, is it like just Maverick trying to prove that human pilots are better than drones? And he's like, that, I mean,
it's not going to be Maverick's story.
Very well be that.
He'll be, Cruise will get top billing, but they'll have the young, they'll have the new Maverick.
New Maverick.
And it'll be a girl. If I was a betting man, it'll be a woman. And ideally, they won't get romantically involved, but it's Tom Cruise, so he probably will.
I mean, Kelly McGillis will probably not be in this one.
No, I wouldn't think so. But
maybe. We're not saying it's a girl in a bad sense.
No, I know how Hollywood thinks.
Yeah.
They're ticking the boxes. Fine. But Tom Cruise is in his 50s, and she's young. Don't put them together. Because that's a trope that's got to stop. The old guy with the young girl. Come on, man. Like, let's be real.
Come on, man. They could share their first loving glance when they're, inverted.
Oh.
See what I did there?
Oh, I see. I don't know if I want to see more. We'll see about all this. Bring it on.
Sure. Why not?
Val Kilmer's back.
He'll fly. He's pilot.
He's now Ice Cream Man as opposed to Ice Man.
I guess he's gotten in shape for it.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too.
Flight suits are not very forgiving.
No, they are not. All right. I believe that
Goose, though.
Well, Goose died.
I
Drew.
know. I'm still sad about it.
I know.
It's a great movie. Goose, man.
Listen, I've never said it's
Anthony Edwards.
I've never said it's a bad movie. I've never said it's a bad movie. I just feel that Iron Eagle's better.
Hey.
Okay, so that does it for the news. Now moving along to the rustling of the papers. Drew, I'm starting to realize something about Jessica Jones as we move on to episode 4.
The show or the character?
The show.
Okay.
As we move on to episode 4, God Help the Hobo. I enjoyed this season, and I enjoyed watching it. I'm not getting as much enjoyment out of it this time around for the purposes of the show. When I could watch it and do a couple episodes at a time and really kind of get into the flow of the story, I really enjoyed it. When I'm doing kind of one episode a week now, and just as the story gets going, it stops at the end of the episode. Because again, as we've discussed, this is not paced like a traditional superhero story. This is paced as a noir detective story.
Yeah, there's also something to be considered in that these shows now are being written and shot and edited to be watched in binge fashion.
Yeah.
So we're talking about it week to week. They are not constructed that way necessarily.
Yeah.
And that's kind of for the sake of our show, it's kind of a problem.
And a bad thing.
Yeah, I miss episodic week to week kind of
pacing. I would not mind some standalone episodes.
It doesn't even have to be standalone. It just, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of things that they're just padding it out. There's a lot of padding in a lot of this stuff.
It pays off.
It does. I'm not saying it won't.
They're setting stuff up. Did you start Luke Cage season 2 yet?
Not yet. I'm scared to.
Why are you scared to?
I'm watching Jessica Jones. There's a lot going on here. I will start Luke Cage though.
I'm not so you're not scared of the season?
Oh God, no! I'm psyched for it.
Yeah. Okay.
Just there's a lot of Preacher came back. I'm watching Preacher again, so there's just a lot going on.
I got you.
In any case,
so Jessica Jones episode 4, God Help the Hobo. Drew, we open up just as in anger management.
So your reaction to this is kind of fun because you're watching it again. I'm watching it for the first time.
Yes.
I thought this was actually a decent episode. And there's a lot of growth happening with, well, not all the characters, but you're getting a feel for things. Well, actually, to be fair, Jess is changing a bit. Her landlord changes a bit.
Yes.
And Hogarth, Jerry.
Yeah.
She changes a bit too. She's been humbled.
Yep.
Illness has befallen her, and now she is much nicer than she used to be. And she's like, and it's subtle at first, obviously, but she no longer works with Chang, right? The
other rival private investigator.
And she's back in Jess, and she even says thank you to her, which she would never do before.
No.
So it's subtle, but she is changing. Jess is she's getting there. She's starting to realize her problems, her flaws.
Yeah, she's becoming in touch with her anger, which for Jess is not necessarily a good thing.
Not now, but if she can see that it's the first power of the problem is admitting you have a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if she can come to terms with what she's got going on, that is a step in the right direction. So she has several, encounters with that in this episode. So obviously in the meeting, hey, you got problems,
Yeah.
And then later on with the landlord, like Jess, now to be fair, she saves his kid. By the way, watch your kid, man.
He was busy having a fight with his ex.
That's fair, but man. Anyway,
yeah.
Jess saves him from the kid, dumb, stupid kid jumping out the window.
He didn't jump out the window. He wanted to do a boy who could fly, and
yeah, well,
he could not fly, Bobby.
No. So anyway, my point is, because she saved him, landlord is nice, gives her a bottle of Maker's Mark, which is that's a nice little gesture there. And Jess goes from 0 to 100.
Yep. I have in my notes for that part. Jess steps on the gas. Oscar steps on the brakes.
Yes, he does. And that is hopefully okay, you gotta simmer down here. You got your whole personality is very over the top.
Yeah,
Maybe you're here. You're at an 11. I need you down here, a 3.
They've kind of established, I think, in the first season and this season, because of what happened to her with the Purple Man, sex is not an emotional act for Jess.
No.
It's akin to probably taking a drug.
Kinda.
It's not one that she's necessarily addicted to, just one that if she can get every once in a while, she's fine with. There's no emotion, aside from Luke, in which they hinted at that a little bit, but sex is not an emotional act or attachment. And we'll see further why that's true later on in the season. One thing that did annoy me about this episode, the first time and the second time I watched it, and it's only within the first 20 minutes or so in the episode, they're emphasizing how hot it is in New York.
Yes.
And Jess is talking about how hot it is in New York.
Yes.
Maybe don't wear a leather jacket.
Was she wearing the jacket?
Yes.
Okay.
She's wearing it all over the place.
Fair enough.
I get that that's kind of like a character trait. That's kind of like her, lack of a better term, costume.
Yeah. Right.
But if you're going to point out numerous times in the first 20 minutes of the episode how hot it is in New York, don't put her in the jacket. Leather's warm.
But then how will we know where she is and who she is, Carl?
Leather's warm.
It is. It sure is. Yeah, we had a lot of there's developments here by way of a wig shop, ironically, which is kind of weird, but whatever. I'm also starting to get worried about Trish.
Okay.
She is a little trigger happy.
Yes.
Jess has to talk her down from the machine gun at a point here. And then, unbeknownst to Jess, and I didn't realize it until she busted it out either, when they're in fear that they might be encountering Aunt Jackie, she busts out the inhaler.
The inhaler, yeah. And we get a little taste of how the inhaler works. 'Cause
Yeah.
they show like how her vision dramatically improves.
Yes.
Upon taking it. I think we're seeing Trish has, especially when she's around. Well, okay. Look at the two key people in Trish's life, Jess and what's her boyfriend's name? Griffin. Jess and Griffin. They represent the pinnacle of what Trish aspires to be. Griffin's success as a news reporter, a legitimate news reporter, and Jess being powered.
Okay.
Trish wants both these things. And one thing we're going to see is and we saw the first part of it, is the length she will go to get these things, because ultimately it's kind of feeling like an inferiority complex that was installed by her mother.
Yeah, true.
And being brought up as a child actress. And we saw that, like, from the owner of the wig shop, she's no picnic as a child actress either.
No. And, well, she was on substances and whatnot. And
Yeah.
you find out she's 10 years clean and all that. So, she has some baggage there, which, is coming out in as we go along here. Griffin is up to no good, though, man. He's taking mysterious phone calls.
Yep.
Come on to you, buddy.
Clicking in hard drives, flash drives.
Yeah.
You know who else? Now that I'm thinking
more
about
development. Malcolm.
Yes,
Malcolm gets
I was
a lot
just
of
going to say Malcolm.
Yeah.
As we see a form of rehab with Jess, we also are seeing a form of rehab with Malcolm, in that he's replaced one addiction possibly with another. Malcolm's swiping right a lot.
Hey, look. New York, man. It's your cup runneth over sometimes. More power to you, brother.
Yeah. But
Tip of the hat.
Malcolm is a really interesting character in this season. They take him in some really cool directions.
Well, he's getting his confidence here. He wants he has found purpose. He wants to do what Jess does,
Yeah.
and he wants to stop being treated like a sidekick or a lackey. And in the end, he gets kind of recruited by that Chang guy. I can't think of his.
Well, Chang makes him an offer,
Right,
and
he takes it to Jess and says, like, "Hey, this is what's up. So either you treat me cool, or I got to go over here."
and then Jess acquiesced to that.
She does, and again, growth for her too. Hey,
Yeah.
good for you. Yeah, I like that. But we're getting the cast kind of. People are growing, people are changing, and it's good. He's a good actor too. I like his performance.
Yeah, I like, in this episode particularly, I like the swing they made with Oscar, the super. It became much more, you kind of understand his motivation more for being the way he was in the first couple episodes.
Fair enough, yeah. And he does clarify that his problem is not with Jess's powers, it's just her personally.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not you people, it's just you.
It's just you.
Which is a fair point.
Yeah.
She has a lot to deal with.
Just looking at my notes here.
Oh, I like that Max, the director, the pervy director.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say about him other than there was probably a meeting and they said, "Can we get Bryan Cranston?" No. Can we get someone who kind of looks like Bryan Cranston if you just squint a little? Yes. That's all I got.
And Jess does her impersonation of a Street Fighter 2 bonus stage.
Oh, yeah. Fist through the car.
Yeah.
Was it Street Fighter or was it Final Fight where you break the car and the guy comes out and goes, "Oh, my car"?
It was a Final Fight, but they did it in Street Fighter 4 as well.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah. Not only did they do it in Street Fighter 4, but the guy who comes out and says, "Oh, my car," was one of the thugs from Final Fight.
Perfect.
So, yeah. So yeah, Hogarth kind of swings back and forth a lot this episode, because clearly, like you said, she's been humbled. But like when she goes to the doctor's office, it almost looks like she's in the bargaining phase.
Yes, she is.
Then she goes right from bargaining to, okay, I just want to kill myself.
No. She's not going to kill herself.
No, she was looking for suicidal drugs.
No, she was looking for the drugs that the doctor wouldn't give her. She found out that there was treatments that she could get overseas in Europe and whatnot that her doctor would not give to her, and then she's perusing Russian websites to get, air quotes, illegal medicines.
But then she switches, and then she says she's also looking for something that's quick and painless.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
Okay. My bad.
Her arc is very interesting, even though it does not intersect with the main story a lot. She kind of has her own story this season, and it's a really interesting one. So, but yeah, like you said, a lot of development in this issue. Good. They find Inez, who they thought was Aunt Jackie.
Right.
Turned out not to be Aunt Jackie.
She was just a nurse who got caught in the crossfire.
Yes.
Of Aunt Jackie.
Yes, and there's someone else who got caught in a crossfire of Aunt Jackie and got his head twisted around because Chang sent someone to Alias to rob the place.
Which he does.
He got pretzeled.
Yeah. And at that point, Jess and Trish are coming back. I got a nitpick here. At that point, Jess and Trish visibly pulling up to the scene. They've clearly were not there.
Yeah.
Trish is an upstanding citizen. She's a celebrity, right?
Yep.
They walk upon the scene. They have no idea what's going on. Jess is immediately arrested. It's like, wait a minute. They can't just arrest her for that. Like,
well,
she has an alibi. She wasn't there. They could ask her to. They can question her.
Yeah.
But like, no, we don't go to questioning. They immediately place her under arrest and say they have a warrant for her and all this other stuff. Based on what?
Well, Trish gets arrested because she shoved the cop.
Yeah. She's still all huffed up. But yeah. But still.
Like I can see where a lot of evidence would point to Jess, and they probably want to try, given they understand her power level, they probably want to try and detain her without escalating the situation.
Oh, they go right to the arrest phase.
Yeah. My problem with that is she's clearly talking to Malcolm, and they just let him go. Like, no one stops questioning him or anything.
Right. This is a lot. It was a little. I mean, it's like they wanted to get her arrested, but they didn't want to do the work to get there. So quick, just arrest her. Okay, writers. That's not quite how it works, but whatever, we got there. So, yeah, and then in the end of the episode, because of the damage done by Aunt Jackie pretzeling the guy and trashing the van, Jess is on the ground being arrested, and she's looking at the damage, and she's saying, that's not me, that's not me. So clearly, she is at least realizing that her powers and anger can lead to bad things, and she is clearly she doesn't want that.
Yeah.
So we will see where that goes.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right.
Not bad. Not a bad episode.
That about does it for us here at the Devil's Due. Folks, maybe you didn't hear at the top of the show. We're going to be live.
They tuned in late on a podcast.
they just fast forward to the news. They're tired of hearing us talk. We are going to be doing a live show for our 100th episode spectacular. There will be no episode next week, but we're going to be live the week after that, Tuesday, July 10th at Daily Planet Coffee at 1862 Hurdle Avenue, Buffalo, New York. Starting at 6:30, going to about 8ish. Please, if you're in the area, come down and see us, grab some free comics, enjoy the show. We're going to work on having some other surprises and stuff, whatnot, or it might just be us, and that should be enough for you. So yeah, that being said,
and remember, don't stand when Carl tells you to stand.
Yeah, you don't have to stand. I mean, you could stand if you want. It'd be cool if you did, but I mean, not that cool. Okay, folks, if you want to send us any questions or comments to be read on the show, find out any information about the show, you can do so at the following locations. You can find us on Twitter at Devil's Due Pod. You can email us at thedevilsdupod@gmail.com. You can go to facebook.com/devilsdupod, or you can find all these resources available to you on our website, thedevilsdupodcast.com. Drew, any last words?
We will see you at Daily Planet.
Yes, live and in person. Till then, court's adjourned.